What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast with your boys, Matt Wolf and Joe Fier. Check it. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hustle and Flowchart podcast. My name is Matt Wolf.
Hello.
I'm here with Joe Fier.
That's me.
And we've also got somebody else we're going to chat with in a minute. I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever heard of a tool called Clickfunnels?
Yes, of course I have.
It's actually kind of a popular tool.
Yes, it is.
We actually use it in our business. That's why you should have heard of it.
It's quite an amazing tool, and we do use it every single day. Yes.
Well, today we have Dave Woodward from Clickfunnels on the show.
No.
Yes, we have him on the show today.
OMG.
So we're going to talk to him. And here's what I think is really exciting about this is I love getting the behind the scenes of big businesses. I love hearing behind the scenes. And I got to pick Dave's brain about how Clickfunnels was essentially made, how it came into being. And I thought that was really cool. What was your favorite part about talking to Dave?
You're kind of freaking me out with your showman voice right now. And his motions. This isn't normal, Matt. Dave was just an amazing dude in general. I love the enthusiasm with Dave. He's all about people. Like, I feel like at the end of the day, we get into tactics about how to create these challenges that empower people, that show them how to do things, motivate. There's all these different ways. He does it through challenges. That's one of the things, a 30-day challenge that ClickFunnels actually just wrapped up around the time of this recording, but they're going to do more, so don't worry if you missed it. But these things they just sound amazing. He'll break it down completely, but the end result is you're going to get really rabid, evangelist type fans for whatever you have, but also it just creates this funnel. It's a different type of funnel. So this is pretty much the newest funnel that ClickFunnels is now testing and experimenting, and he actually breaks down the stats, and they're pretty dang effective, I would say.
Yeah, no, the 30-day challenge concept is awesome. We also talked to him about why they do podcasting. We talked to him about funnel scripts, which is another really cool tool that we use, and we kind of learned about how that came to be. So wide-ranging conversation, really, really cool stuff. Yep. But before we do,
what are we doing?
Was there something you wanted to tell him?
Oh, I don't know. Well, if you don't have ClickFunnels, you probably should get ClickFunnels because it's pretty dang good.
You can get it at evergreenprofits.com/ClickFunnels, just saying.
That is a good source, and we'll give you some pointers if you go through that link and ask us questions. But we also have our amazing course on audience building and traffic.
Yes.
That is basically our bread and butter, everything we experiment and do and teach about how to do all the stuff traffic related. It's in that thing. I mean, it's literally a behemoth with course, community, more training, updates, all that fun stuff.
And we actually have a special thing going just for listeners of the podcast. So
that's you.
If you're listening to this, we're going to give you a secret, super secret coupon code.
Don't tell anybody else.
And it's really easy to remember. If you go to evergreenprofits.com/traffic, that's where you can learn about our traffic course. And if you use the coupon code SHIRT, SHIRT, SHIRT.
I like that you have to really spell that.
In case you don't know how to spell shirt, use the coupon code SHIRT, and we're going to hook you up with a free Hustle and Flowchart or Evergreen Profits t-shirt.
What up?
And that's how we know that you heard it from the podcast, and we're going to hook you up.
We got your back, literally, with a shirt.
Yes, and your front.
In the front, yes. But,
all right.
Just so we got your back.
Before we go off on some silly rant, let's go talk to Dave Woodward.
Let's do that.
From ClickFunnels.
Over to Dave. Hey, Dave, we're live. Thanks for hopping on the show.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. We're on yours, about a month ago or so, Funnel Hacker Radio. It was a fun time.
Great results. Everyone loved it. So thank you so much for all the value you dropped.
Of course. Anytime. And just everything you guys bring to this world, with ClickFunnels and everything else that we probably don't even know about that you're doing. Thank you. And
you're welcome.
Yeah, a lot of folks listening, I know, reference ClickFunnels all the time. So you're one of the head guys over there making big things happen. So
that's fun. We have a good time.
Be cool to kind of break down your story and maybe, I don't know if that's like ClickFunnels at the same time, but they're both, I'm sure, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious how you got into the world of marketing, entrepreneurship, business, that kind of thing. And then I'm also curious about the ClickFunnels story. So the whole journey.
Sure. Well, I actually started off pre-med, got accepted to medical school, and a week before I was supposed to go, decided that wasn't for me. So my dad's an attorney, my mom's a nurse, devastated both of them. They're like, what are you going to do with your life? I'm like, I don't know, but I just don't want to do that. So I actually got involved in, at the time, employee benefits, and we ended up taking a company from Texas, moved to California where I lived the last 20 years. We sold that company, and really through the sale of that company is where I found my love of marketing. I got so excited about it. I then set up my own marketing agency, got heavily involved primarily in the direct response marketing at the time. Had clients in the health insurance industry and the fitness industry, the mortgage industry. Was actually making a lot of the mortgage guys a ton of money. So I thought, you know what, I should just do that for myself. So I set up a mortgage company. So I've played the entrepreneurial type of thing. I rode the mortgage wave up, rode it crashing down, lost a ton of money, then got into flipping houses and using marketing to help sell houses. And so for me, marketing's just been my passion. It's what I love. It's exciting for me. I'm kind of a nut when it comes to watching the numbers and things, trying to make sure that it all works. Yep. There's a lot of people who throw a ton of money at it and hope that some of it sticks, which really isn't how we like to do things here. If we were VC funded, maybe that would work, but we're all privately funded here out of our own pockets. So I met Russell probably about 10, 12 years ago during this whole internet thing. It was kind of funny. I was in a situation where I had a bunch of clients who, again, we were doing primarily direct response marketing. This was like 2006, 2007, 2008. And I thought, gosh, there's got to be something more to this whole internet game. And Russell and Stu McLaren actually were doing an event about affiliate marketing. I thought, I want to figure this whole thing out. So I went to that event and I learned a long time ago, you can either work your way in or buy your way in. And I was at that event and they said, hey, you know what, if you'd like to take us out to, one of us out to lunch or dinner and pick our brain, sign up in the back of the room. So I raced to the back of the room and I filled up every single breakfast, lunch, and dinner spot that Russell had. And we just became lifelong friends since then. Prior to Clickfunnels, we did a whole bunch of different projects, some in the network marketing and the fitness and the real estate and a bunch of different niches and kind of keeping our own businesses separate. And then when Clickfunnels came around, he invited me in as a partner and the rest has been history. So that's kind of my connection to Russell.
That's cool. So with Clickfunnels, I'm curious, how did the idea for Clickfunnels happen and, how did you get into developing it? Because I know, so my experience with Russell was when he was kind of more in the info space.
Yeah.
I know he did the potato gun thing, and then there was the Success Etc., which was kind of like a daily deal site. I remember some of that kind of stuff. How did all this kind of evolve into Clickfunnels?
Oh, great question. So what happened was at the time, Russell was doing, as you mentioned, a whole bunch of different businesses and started to see the exact same thing happening time and time again. Where it's like, okay, I got this great idea. I want to get this to launch. But he had to deal with a graphics guy. He had to deal with a tech guy. Had to deal with a coder. Had to deal with, and it was like, gosh, this is taking so long. And by the time I actually get it ready to go, I've missed the opportunity. And it wasn't as big of a deal when you're doing information. When all of a sudden you start having a warehouse full of supplements, it totally changes the game. Mm-hmm. And that's where Clickfunnels was kind of born out of necessity. There was a product, a neuropathy product he had at the time, and literally a warehouse full of supplements and couldn't get it sold fast enough. And we're going, this warehouse is literally costing us a ton of money. And I don't like the way the copy is. And he couldn't go in and just change the headline, had to send it back to the graphics guy and they had to create an image. And it was just like, there's got to be an easier way. Yeah. And so that's where Todd, who is our co-founder, Todd and Russell kind of came together. Todd's just a Ruby on Rails, just genius, whiz bang, self-taught tech guy. Just blows my mind what he can pull off. But he literally said, you know what, let me see. It was about the same time Lead Pages received their first round of like 5 million funding or something. He's like, dude, I could knock that off in a night. That's no big deal. And so Todd went to town. It was more than a night, but he basically he goes, you can't just have a landing page. That sucks. You got to actually have something where it's a funnel. We need a funnel. And so he's created the whole thing in a couple of weeks / months. And that's really what, out of necessity, Clickfunnels was born. We were going to use it primarily for ourselves at the time, but it really, there was more people interested in the software than there were in the product. So
I love the fact. Yeah, I love the fact that it was out of necessity. So you're going to make it as amazing as you possibly can for yourself, but also you weren't detracted or, swayed by Lead Pages and the fact that they just got this big round of cash. They pretty much proved that this is a necessity, obviously in investors' minds. But for the market itself, we all needed that. And there was room for Clickfunnels as well. So it's just really cool to not like, we're already doing it.
Well, I just remember those days too. I think the first time I ever was involved in a product launch was around 2009. And I think it was pre any sort of page builder that was out there.
Oh, yeah.
So we had to go and hire a designer to create the design, and the design was literally an image file. So they made a website that was just an image file, and then you had to hire a coder to go turn that image into code. And then, like, if you wanted to change a menu item, then you had to change it on every page that menu linked to, and it was just a nightmare. So it's like it's stuff like, I feel like a lot of people take things like ClickFunnels for granted today, but if you knew how you had to build websites 10 years ago,
back in the old days,
it's insane.
It definitely dates us there. We've been around a long time, guys. So, but I think that you're totally right, though, because the key there is you're in a situation where people don't understand the value, and so they get frustrated. Well, I can't drag and drop it as fast as I want. I'm like, you actually have the ability to drag and drop it. It's like complaining you're flying and your flight's delayed. I'm like, you're in a plane. You're flying. I mean, it's okay. 5 minutes is going to be okay.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. So what exciting things are happening now at ClickFunnels that you'd like to share?
Oh my gosh. Every day is exciting for me. This is a dream come true. It's been so much fun. I think for me, honestly, the thing that excites me the most is the success of our customers. Nothing excites me more than that. I mean, yeah, we have our own internal success, and that's all a lot of fun. But when we start getting our applications for our 2 Comma Club awards, those things just thrill me to death. We've got over 411 now that have made over $1 million inside of a sales funnel. Yeah. I've got 31 now that have done over 10 million inside of a sales funnel. So those are the things that excite me a ton. But I think the ones that excite me even more are those people, the success stories when they made their first $1 online or their first $1,000. I'm like, you got it. It actually works. You can now scale that. It's proof of concept. So take that and go with it. And so those are the stories that I get so excited about. So reading through Facebook or whatever else, it's like, yes.
Yeah, I was going to say your Facebook group, the ClickFunnels Facebook group, is just like, it's so awesome, because I feel like daily there's some sort of inspirational story of somebody that finally figured out how to make that first $100. And I know it's not that big to you guys, but this is world changing to me. But when I see that stuff, that lights me up that other people are accomplishing even that kind of thing. Because I remember what it felt like to make like a first $100 day and go, holy crap, this is actually real. Like, I can actually probably stop doing this other job over here eventually.
Totally.
Nice. Oh, there's nothing. I remember those days, that day exactly. It was like, I remember calling my wife going, look. She's like, how much did it cost to make it? I'm like, that doesn't matter. I made it. I made $100. That's what matters.
Yeah. No, it's true. We can refine the cost later. That's okay. I made this thing happen. But it's so true, because you guys have this this platform that's just so available to anyone starting out from nothing or even $1 million+ business. And it's as valuable as just how you apply it. And that's how we use it in different ways than I'm sure most other people that we talk to on the podcast here. So
now let's talk about the challenges that you guys are doing. You mentioned before we hit record that you guys are really excited about these 30-day challenge concepts, and I'm curious to kind of dive down that rabbit hole, because we didn't really go deep before we hit record. So I'm kind of hearing the concept for the first time now.
So we actually. Everyone's probably seen these fitness challenges out there, and they were the craze for the longest time. And there's actually businesses built around that exact model. One of our inner circle members, Natasha Hazlitt, she was doing a kind of a challenge like that inside of her own business, and she kind of brought it to us. And so we took that and kind of refined it. And so when we talk about, for us, it's a 30-day challenge, and we now refer to it as it's our 1 funnel away challenge. And the whole idea is, we're just joking around as far as you're just 1 funnel away. You don't know which funnel that is from making that $100 or that $1,000 or that $1 million, but it's just 1 funnel. And so the challenge is really to get a person started, to get them going, to get them to see action. And I look back at the whole fitness thing, and for a lot of people on the fitness challenges, what most of them they're doing is literally just get out of bed and get to the gym. That's all you have to do. You don't have to work out. You just got to get to the gym, and that's a success for you. Mm-hmm. So the other challenges inside of ClickFunnels work the exact same way. You don't have to build the whole funnel out in the first day. It's little tiny baby steps. And so what we've seen is what we ended up doing back in early September was we did our 30days.com. And what we did was we went out to 100 of our 2 Comma Club award-winning funnel builders and basically said, if you lost everything and all you had was ClickFunnels and your marketing knowledge, what would you do? And so they created literally a 30-day plan, step by step. Day 1, I would do this. Day 2, I would do this. And so those 30 plans were all built out. And we thought, as we're building out that funnel, what could we do with that? it's great that they did it, but how could someone who receives that, what could they do with that content to actually implement it? And that's where the birth of the challenge came was, okay, that's what they did. Now let's take what they did and have you actually implement that for the next 30 days. And so what happened then is Russell did a 10,000 foot level. This is the scope of what's going to happen over the next 30 days. Julie Stoyan, who works with us now, is basically went in and said, okay, let me break down Russell's grand vision into more step-by-step type of things. And these are all the training modules, everything else. And then Stephen Larson, who used to be Russell's funnel builder, came in, and every single day, he was basically kind of like the drill sergeant. Actually was in the military and everything else, so it fit his personality real well. But that's what a lot of people need. It's kind of like when you hire a trainer. And I've hired a trainer this year for no other reason than just to make sure I was held accountable to get to the gym and make me do what I'm supposed to do.
100%. And
that's really how the challenge works, where you have a person who's actually doing it there with you, telling you every single day, okay, this is what you got to do. And he's on live basically about 15, 20 minutes, just kind of saying, okay, this is what you got to do. And a lot of it's just, for most of us, it's not the tactical stuff, it's the mindset stuff. It's like, oh, you're struggling with this. These are the things we're seeing in our Facebook. We actually use Mighty Networks for that challenge. So it's more of a community outside of Facebook. And they log in and so we can see what the challenges people are having. And, I wasn't able to do it because of this or this. So we're able to address those on a daily basis. And it's really holding someone's feet to the fire for 30 days. And it was kind of fun. I'm actually trying to look here at the metrics. So in the 30days.com, we ended up having 7,557 people actually bought that product. And for that product, when they signed up, they got the challenge for free. And so we had roughly 7,000 people start off. People who actually enrolled in Mighty Networks was just about 4,500. And we actually had just over 2,000 completed by the end of the 30 days.
Wow.
So
that's a great completion rate.
Fantastic numbers. I mean, just as far as going through the funnel. But the cool thing for me was, as the owner of Clickfunnels type product, we were actually able to train our customers. Because at the end, obviously there was an upsell and opportunity for them there. But what happened was they became really dialed in on exactly what they have to do. And they started having success. And the dream would be able to create a $1,000 or your 1 comma within the first 30 days. And most of them, to be honest, most of them didn't do that. But the testimonials were huge. A couple were like, I've had a Clickfunnels account for 2 years and I've never done anything with it because I didn't know what to do. Or I've been sitting here just, paying and I know there's something out there. I appreciated having someone just tell me every single day, just do this one thing. And those little tiny baby steps, they added up to where they started having this community and everyone inside was like holding other people accountable. So it wasn't just Steven. And it was really neat for us to see the success that people were having. But more important than that was the community that got built, because at the end of 30 days, basically it's going away. And they're like, no, you can't take away our community. And so again, I would recommend to anybody at all, whether you have a physical product or an information product, to tie a challenge into it. It totally changes the dynamic. The metrics and the numbers are crazy. I can go through all the metrics and numbers if you guys want to. But most importantly, what happens is that community that gets built in a challenge. You see the same thing in a gym or anything else like that, where it's a group class.
Camaraderie.
People go they go just because there's someone there to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
And when a person's, especially I think all of us as entrepreneurs have kind of gone down that road where it's lonely. You're by yourself.
Sure.
It's hard. No one ever tells you that part. You're in your office with the door closed and no one else is talking to you and you're pounding on your keyboard. And so that community it was just crazy how it lifted everybody's spirits, and the excitement and the enthusiasm was just off the charts crazy.
That's so cool. And not only are they building something great for themselves, but as Clickfunnels, as the one holding the challenge, and this is for any listener, if they do a challenge for themselves, you're essentially training these folks to love you because you are now their expert. You're framing yourself on this authority kind of thing, and you're also training them to kind of learn how you market, how you sell. They could become evangelists for your company, either as affiliates or just speaking about, Clickfunnels, which happens all the time. It's just like this rabid kind of thing you're generating through a challenge where it's just a win-win-win all around, Yeah,
it was really neat for us to see that just the ability that people had to communicate with others because they want to brag about their success.
Sure.
And as you made mention, the main thing is a lot of them were trained, we don't put up with whining. You can't sit here and whine and complain. All of us have a bad day. All of us, And so we were able to kind of set the tone as far as what's acceptable in the community, just like your trainer would if you were working out. He's going to say, no, that's not allowed in my gym. And so Steven kind of set that bar as far as saying, yeah, I understand it's hard. These are all the hard things I've had to overcome to get to where I'm at. You're going to have to do the same thing. And so by kind of setting that bar, those people who didn't want to step up, they just kind of washed out. But those who did want to step up, they appreciated someone just being totally transparent, saying, yeah, it is going to be hard. It wasn't, again, it cost them $100 to get in. It wasn't a highly expensive product. And we over-delivered. I mean, you couldn't get Steven on the phone every day for 30 days for $100. But for us, it was just, the key was just to over-deliver on so much value that they felt that, what's the next thing what do you have next? Because I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And it seemed like the completion rate you said sounded like it was just shy of 50% or so. Maybe it's 40%.
It was crazy.
Which is unreal for any product. I mean, even if someone's paying $1,000 for a product, I doubt the completion rate's going to be anywhere near that.
True.
Yeah.
So you're just setting everyone up for success for that next thing, whatever that is.
Yeah, it's been fun to see. Garrett White's been doing one now for with his Warrior book, Warrior Week.
Yep. And
he's just crushing it. And his is the same type of thing. We took a lot of what he had and a lot of Natasha and kind of put it together. But Garrett J. White, he always gets mad when I forget the J. Garrett J. White. But with Warrior, it was fun because he was able to remove himself from it. And so he had his trainers and everyone else. Again, the books are written by him and the content was provided by him. But the people didn't think they were getting Garrett for $100. And they didn't think they were getting Russell for $100.
Right. Sure.
But the value that was there was massive. And by separating, moving the guru further up the hill, it basically allows more opportunity for additional sales and things later.
Yeah. Got it. So the core kind of concept of the challenge, just to make sure I've got it straight in my brain, is everybody's getting like a new piece of content every day for 30 days, like a new sort of task to follow. And then there's also a community where everybody's kind of sharing the wins based on these 30-day tasks that they're handling.
Exactly right. It's exactly how it works.
Awesome. And you mentioned Mighty Networks. That's actually a thing. Actually, Marky and one of our clients take on a handful of clients. He's like, "You got to check out this Mighty Networks thing."
Oh, really?
I think it's coming up.
I've never heard of it until just like 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah. So I'm just curious, what are the components or what's necessary to do a challenge for someone listening here?
Yeah. So for us, I think what made it most valuable to them is they got a whole bunch of front end type of things. So they got the book, or they got there was physical things that we sent them that made them feel a little more tied to it. You could do it with just information products, but if you have a physical, something you can send them physically, it definitely for us it created more of a stick rate. They showed up because they had already received something from us. So I'd say if you can add that, that's a huge component to it.
Sure.
The actual platform itself, as far as Mighty Networks, the reason we went with that is it allowed us to message within it directly to them. They could message within each other if they wanted to. And we could control the network quite a bit. The only drawback from it is we wanted to be able to actually play the videos inside of the platform. And right now you can't. They're looking at adding that piece to it. So we did most of ours through Zoom outside. And so we'd give them a link and then the Zoom, and then we'd basically bring that back in.
Got it.
But and again, it kind of has a membership type of community and platform built into it. We already have that in ClickFunnels, so we had some of that there, but we also dovetailed that in with Mighty Network.
Got it. Yeah, that's a good leverage of both of them then. Cool. Yeah, I was curious because I mean, we now have T-shirts. Matt's wearing one of them, and we're starting to get more of these physical things around what we're doing. So everything you're saying there, we're like, oh yeah, we could pull something like this.
You made mention as far as the T-shirt. That's what I wanted to. So we took this from. Sean T. And gosh, what's his infomercial?
Insanity and all that.
Insanity. Yeah. And so for everybody who completed it, we sent them a T-shirt.
Yes.
And so they saw the T-shirt as kind of the thing, as an encouragement. It's amazing what people do for a T-shirt. I am just shocked.
You're wearing one right now, right? Yeah, the funnel hacker.
A funnel hacker T-shirt. We give them away free. We've given away tens of thousands of these T-shirts just as they come in on an onboarding sequence.
Yeah, no, I remember that when we first signed up for ClickFunnels, there's like a series of 6 videos or something like that. Yeah. And if you complete them all, then you enter your address and they send you a shirt.
It's freaking brilliant. Yep. I mean, what's that cost? It's like $10 maybe to you guys. Probably
exactly.
Cheaper. Yeah.
But your stick rate is huge. It's huge.
Sure. Yeah. I love it. Any little, and I hate to call them like a bribe, but it's just it's a gift. Any kind of sticky, it's something that is
Well, it's almost like
yeah.
you guys created a tribe, like the Funnel Hacker tribe, right? And now I've got the T-shirt so I can wear it on my chest that I'm part of this tribe. And I could see how that would really increase the stickiness.
It's an inclusion thing.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that. I think it was last month or the month before, we actually had someone email support. They've done nothing with ClickFunnels, mind you. But they've been paying ClickFunnels every year, every month for the last year and a half. And they asked if they could get a new T-shirt because they've worn their other one out. Yet they haven't done anything. Yes, your donations are greatly appreciated. We're more than happy to send you a T-shirt.
That's
You're
awesome.
just a good company. Yours looks pretty worn out too.
It is. I need a new one.
Rightly so for you though. So is there anything on that challenge side of things that we might have missed or glossed over that you think would be helpful?
I think as you're going through the funnel to sign up, so we're looking here as far as it became a 2 Comma Club award-winning funnel for us in 30 days. We did just over 1.2 million, and had. Let me see if I can get you the numbers here. It was let's see, as far as so we had a 17.9% opt-in rate, and 7,557 people basically signed up for it. The crazy thing is it allowed us to have upsells through that funnel, so they could buy additional things, and everyone is different. So for us, it was they could download the 30 days book as a PDF for free, or if they wanted to, they could pay basically $100 and we would send them out the book in a hard copy. And I know you guys can't see it who are listening to this, but it's basically a hardbound copy. It's about 1.5 inches, 2 inches thick.
Holy moly.
And over 531 pages. So it was a big book, and
that's like the equivalent of like a Tim Ferriss book. Yeah. It looked like.
That's right. The Titans.
Yeah, the Titans.
It's actually, I went with that hardcover because I love the Titans so much.
I always say it could be like a weapon in a dark alley. It's a self-defense tool than anything. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, and so we had that. We also ended up having we had a couple of different upsells through it. Traffic Secrets is one of them, and then Funnel University and Funnel Audibles. Our average cart value, so the product up front was $100. Our average cart value ended up being $169.40. And our EPC was about $2.25 on it.
That's rocking. That's so cool. Very cool. All built off of this challenge that someone could join for next to nothing. I love it.
Yeah, the crazy thing is we ordered 5,000 books thinking that we would have that for more than 2 months, and we blew through them and we were out of stock.
Yeah, wow. We didn't have enough.
We increased the demand even more. And then we started seeing, after we closed it down after the 30 days, I saw one on eBay for, I think, $250. So
wow, that is awesome. I hope one day that I have a book that like people are trying to resell on eBay for $250.
It was so funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because now that's like in the realm of like the breakthrough advertising book where you only find it for like $200.
That's true. It's a good place to be.
Exactly.
That's so cool.
Well, all right. So something we always like to talk about, since you guys have a podcast, it's awesome. And it's a crucial part of the business. We're always curious how that fits into your bigger business, the Funnel Hacker Radio.
Oh, man, that's a great question. I can tell you for us, it's been fascinating to see the importance of publishing. I have, especially from a traffic standpoint, it's interesting. And we talked to a lot of people like, I'll start publishing once I hit this level of success. Then people will listen to me. And I'm like, you're missing the boat. The key here is to document the journey. People are so much more interested in the journey than they are in the actual success and arrival there. Sure. If you take a look, so we have 2 different podcasts. Russell has his started off as marketing in your car. And this is when everything was collapsing pre-ClickFunnels. Another business he had literally collapsing, closing down, getting rid of employees, and literally just, what am I going to do? And he decided literally to do marketing your car because he had about a 10-minute drive to work, and literally just every day just got in there and go, this sucks, man. I can't believe this is happening and this is happening. And it was amazing to see the community that just rallied around that because they wanted to see what the next thing was. And so I'm a huge believer that as far as documenting the journey through, and again, if you're a writer, then do it in a blog. If you prefer video, then do it as a vlog. If you prefer audio like this, then do it through a podcast. But I think the key there is the whole idea is you're trying to find your voice. And I think that's the hardest part that most marketers don't understand is you're going to suck. You're just going to suck at first. It's just the reality of it. So just suck it up and realize that's how it's going to be. And I remember when I first started my podcast, oh my gosh, I just finished my 300th episode, and I've never listened to one of them. Still to this day, I never listen to them afterwards.
You're like me. I'm starting to, and I'm finding I actually love my podcast now.
Go figure. You ask people questions, things you want to know, and
I'm in good company.
You actually like the podcast?
I'm in good company, dang it.
So I've never listened to him, but I enjoyed the podcast, and it was interesting. My first, I think 200, I never did one about myself. It was just the interview with somebody else. And I had some people reaching out saying, David, what about you? And so I've done probably 30 or so in the last 100 that were about me and my journeys and my travels. And it's been interesting. So again, Russell did it all. It's all his. He doesn't interview anyone else. It's just him. We decided to go the opposite direction on my podcast. For one, I felt much more comfortable interviewing others than I did just talking about myself. But I think it's been fascinating as I take a look at traffic. There's people come in. You can create so many different pieces of content from a podcast, whether it's the transcript, the audio, the videos. It's just, in fact, Steve Larson was just in here. We were just talking about, he's got a podcast, Sales Funnel Radio, that he does. And he now has gone on to create a new one in the MLM niche. And it's been fascinating to see literally the communities that get around a podcast. I'm just a huge believer in podcasts these days because you literally have people usually in their most vulnerable positions. They're working out. Yeah. They're sitting on the toilet. They're driving their car. They're in a place where they're typically, most people don't listen to podcasts when they're at work or doing stuff. Right. It's in the private, and you get this weird relationship. I'm now meeting people, people say, "Oh, I loved your podcast. I love this one and this one." I'm like, I don't even remember that podcast, but I'm glad that you do.
Yeah.
But they connect with you in a way that it's so intimate, and they know so much about you, and they get excited to talk to you, and you get, Facebook messages or wherever, different posts and emails, just because you're touching a person's life where you never thought you were going. I never started the podcast for that reason at all. For us, we started it really just as a way of telling the stories of our success stories, but it's been fascinating to see how people have gravitated to that. And from a traffic standpoint, I think it's a necessity these days. You have to publish.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%. And we always call it this invisible audience because we feel like podcasting is still this so untapped thing, even though it's now generating a lot of momentum. If it's on SNL and they're making skits about it, then it's now mainstream. Yeah. But still, like our minds are blown with how archaic it is. And how much opportunity is really just sitting there waiting for a group of folks to just leverage the heck out of it.
Yeah.
In a really cool way.
And I mean, with podcasts, one thing that a lot of people that think about podcasts and go, man, I don't know about that. Think about this. So we do about an hour. Each of our episodes run for about 45 minutes to an hour on average. And we do twice a week. And we've got regular subscribers. And who cares what the number is, but those regular subscribers are listening to us for, on average, 2 hours per week. Like, that is, talk about the hottest potential customers, the hottest potential prospects in your business. Somebody that's spending 2 hours a week listening to you have conversations with other like-minded entrepreneurs. I mean, you can't really get a hotter lead than a subscriber to your podcast. In my opinion.
I totally agree. And there's that whole law of reciprocity. They've received so much value for free from you that eventually they get to the point where I have to buy something just because I feel I owe you something for having all the value you've given. And I think it's, again, as you made mention, you have this crazy content, again, for 2 hours a week. Yeah. Where else? You're not going to get someone to read 2 hours a week, a book or your blogs or anything else. I mean, that is such crazy amount of time to spend just with you.
Yeah, it's basically a book every week, a short book, but I mean, I got a message the other day from maybe a mutual buddy, but Ori Bengal, and he's been around forever, and he said he drove from San Francisco down to Mexico in 9 hours straight of our podcast. I was like,
nonstop listening to us.
I was kind of like, I'm sorry. No,
it's amazing. People, they do. Once they get into you, they binge.
Oh my God.
They just go all in. The binge is just crazy. They're like, I've listened to every one of your episodes. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. What a waste of life.
See, that's my reaction, just to be funny. I'm so sorry you had to hear me that long.
But then I do the same thing for Joe Rogan. I love the Joe Rogan podcast. I absolutely love it. And those are 3 hour episodes. And I listen to like 2 of those a week. So I'm spending like 6 hours a week with him.
It's true. But yeah, so podcasting, just in general, we always love to touch on that because it's fascinating. Yeah. I can tell you light up about it.
Real quick on that podcast, the thing that's fascinating to me is the people you can get on your podcast, even when you first get started, especially once you've got, get your first 10 or 20 episodes down. other people are willing to come on a podcast that you never otherwise ever would be able to touch. They were literally untouchable to you. I mean, again, if you take a look as far as, your Dream 100 or your A, Bs and C tiers, as far as people you want to network with, the ability to get other people on your podcast, you would never be able to get by an hour of their time.
So what would you suggest?
Podcast.
Yeah, and because we agree, what are some strategies that you guys have used maybe when you were starting things out or recommending to get some of those top 100 people on your show?
I'm a huge believer, again, Russell in his book, .com Secrets, as well as Expert Steve, talks a ton about Dream 100. We do a lot of mailings. I'm old school. I love direct mail. I typically would reach out through Facebook Messenger, private message, and basically say, hey, we wanted to send you a gift. What's the best address to send you something to? People are usually pretty willing to respond to that. And then we try to basically give them things that are unique to them. A buddy of mine, I saw on one of his Instagram stories that he was saying, gosh, these are my favorite pretzels. These are what I love. And so we sent him 3 cases of these pretzels just to get his attention. And so I think it's the whole idea for me as far as Dream 100, you're trying to build a relationship with these people. And the deeper that relationship is before you get them on the podcast, the more value you're going to get out of them on that podcast. For sure. And so I'm a huge believer in just trying to reach out old school and connect with them, provide them value, follow them, listen to their podcast, comment on their podcast, give them rate and review their podcast. Try to provide as much value to them first before you ask for anything from them.
I think it's great advice, and it's similar. We haven't done a lot of the physical mail stuff, but we're starting to. Yeah. And I think that's amazing. You could take that to JVs, getting affiliates. The same kind of idea. It's been applied there. Podcast in general has just been like we had David Allen from Getting Things Done on our podcast. I'm like, there would be no way no way we get that guy on here, but we got him. Yeah. And a bunch of other guys.
Yeah. I mean, cool. we just have a policy of pretty much anytime somebody comes on our show too, is when we email you to let you know that the episode is live, we're going to put a little thing in there saying, hey, do you know anybody else that's a great fit for the podcast? Mm-hmm. So it's this sort of like automated networking process where our network just grows with each new episode because we're constantly getting new referrals to really smart people.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It's a viral network building thing. That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So there's another software that you guys have that we're also big fans of that we use ourselves quite a bit, but I think it sort of gets overshadowed a little bit because Clickfunnels is such a behemoth now. But you also have Funnel Scripts, and Funnel Scripts is a tool that we absolutely love. So I'm kind of curious, how did you come up with that idea, and how did that evolve?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. I wish we actually came up with it. It actually was brought to, Jim Edwards came up with it. He read .com Secrets, and Jim Edwards he's did a ton of ebooks back in the day, and it became just a student of copy, just studied copy like crazy. And so he was going through all the different scripts and things that Russell talked about inside of .com Secrets, and said, you know what, Russell, what I'd like to do is, what if I create a software that builds those scripts for people, which are willing to share, to promote it. And he says, you build it first and then let me see it, and then we'll take a look. And so Jim went to work, built it all out, presented it, and it was insane. I mean, right now, I mean, it literally, as far as podcasts, it literally will create all your podcast notes. It'll create all the podcast emails out to people. I mean, he does everything as far as PowerPoint presentations can be created through there, email copy, headlines, and it's been a fantastic tool. So we actually partnered with him. It's a 50-50 deal. He creates it, we market it, which again is a fun little side note on that is we've seen the best way to actually get people to use it is to consume it yourself and to show people that you're consuming it. So we actually have what we refer to as Funnel Fridays. And it's usually every Friday where Jim and Russell get on, and we literally set an egg timer for 30 minutes, and Russell's got to build a funnel. At the same time, Jim's got to create the copy for that funnel.
Oh, wow.
And we reached out to our users and said, send us some products you'd like us to build funnels on. And so we get tons of different funnels or products being sent in here. And that's one of the ways we've actually marketed Funnel Scripts is by showing people how to actually use it. And it's been great just to see when you consume your own product and you show people how to consume it, they're like, oh, that's not that hard. I can do that. And they quickly buy.
Yeah, and the concept is kind of similar to almost like the old like Mad Libs books, where you kind of go in and you fill in the blanks, and then when you're done, then you get the whole copy sort of spit out with all the words sort of replaced in there. Yeah. And I mean, we use it. I think our current sales page that we're promoting, we have a $300 traffic course, and I'm pretty sure that the base of it was one of the funnel scripts things, and that
was the base. Yeah,
and
it was.
It's converting at 6% for us right now, which we can't complain. So it's. Very happy.
Use this script and modify if needed. Yeah.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because we started targeting a lot of copywriters and like, why you're going to take away my job? And they were like, no, this is just to get you started. And it's been amazing how many testimonials we have from copywriters who I was having this writer's block and I just couldn't get started. I didn't know where to go. And I just started answering the questions and boom, it came out. I'm like, oh, I can take that and I can do this with it. And so some of our best testimonials actually are from copywriters using it to enhance their own copy.
I was just thinking, for some reason, my brain went to like, is there an AI version of funnel scripts or copywriting or something in Clickfunnels that you guys can build in?
I'm sure it's not far off.
I know.
You know what? We are working on taking funnel scripts, and as soon as you create it, have it just automatically populate your funnel.
There you go.
That'd be cool.
So it's getting closer to AI. That's pretty.
We're getting
good,
closer,
right?
not quite.
I mean, really, when it comes to selling, those are really kind of the two most complicated parts. You got your copy and you got your design / development of your website, the tech side. Yep. And you guys kind of covered them both. So pretty good marriage there.
Pretty must-haves, I would say, in anything. Yeah. Well, that kind of touched everything and more that I even had in my mind.
I mean, I don't know how much you're able to talk about or how much you're willing to talk about, but are there any like sort of exciting developments coming up in ClickFunnels that you guys are really pumped about?
More than happy to. So we are launching Actionetics MD. MD stands for multidimensional marketing. So a lot of people, it all comes back to a person's attention. And the hardest part from a marketer is getting people's attention. Mm-hmm. And right now, most humans have an attention of about 6 seconds, where a goldfish has attention of 7. Right. So you're competing basically with someone who's got a brain less than a goldfish when it comes to attention. And what we've seen from a lot of emails, they're not getting opened as much. We're huge email marketing. We built in an ESP, an email service provider, into the platform. But more important than that is the software with ActionX MD allows you to send out, again, multidimensional, meaning you can send out Facebook messages, you can send out text, you can send out desktop push notifications, you can do direct voicemail broadcasts straight to bypassing their ring, basically. And really trying to get to as many different ways of communicating with people as you possibly can. And again, when you come back to kind of AI, what you'll find is you can then track and see exactly which customers are preferring which methods, and you can communicate with them by their method of choice versus yours. Yeah. The other thing that we're building into it from the stats standpoint is to actually show, because we have the funnel and we basically have the funnel and then what we refer to as the follow-up funnel all in the same software. Mm-hmm. We can then track and see exactly how much revenue each email or each message got. So you'll be able to say, you know what, my 6th email is getting $100,000. My 4th one is only getting $20,000. Let me see if I can tweak my 4th one. And so you can see in your follow-up sequences, where's the breakage, and how then you can actually go back and fix that based on ROI per email or message or text or voicemail or whatever else you might be doing. So,
that's so cool.
We're super, super excited about that. We'll be rolling that out here in the next month or so. We actually been working a lot on our trying to get to live support. It's been kind of a fun thing we just rolled out. So again, kind of AI. So our support, the very first approach basically people have is through kind of a chat bot where it's done through Solvy, where AI basically says, well, you have this is your question. Here's a couple of answers. Does this solve it for you?
Yeah. If
it doesn't, last month we're working with Directly, and it's a peer-to-peer support system to where right now it costs us about $15 per support ticket to get answered. And what we did with Directly is we actually are paying our customers to answer our own customer support. Ooh. So we did it as a test. Last month, we had 19 people who were answering the questions, did over, I think it was right around 1,000 to 1,200 tickets, 94% satisfaction from the customers. And we're paying out $4.50 to each person basically who answers the questions right for us.
Oh my God.
Brilliant.
That's so smart. Third of the cost now. And it's like none of your local team,
I guess. It's cool because it then takes all the burden off of our support to handle the questions that they shouldn't be messing with. They can now get to and again, if the the peer-to-peer support can't answer it. They just send it directly to support. So it allows us to then get faster to a live. My ideal dream here would be to have our support people literally sitting there waiting for the phone to ring.
Sure.
Because we're getting support handled so much better. And then we're also looking at some additional, we got so many, we're looking at a multi-user opportunity. So where you can basically assign user tasks to people, user permissions inside of ClickFunnels. We're looking possibly rolling out an agency model next year. Some pretty cool things.
So cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, my brain is still on fire from this sort of like peer-to-peer customer support, right?
Coolest thing.
Crowdsourcing support. I love that.
Well, that's a huge part of our business. We leverage chatbots, automations, and also live chat. And we do that heavily for affiliate promotions, which I still haven't heard of another affiliate really going deep.
Yeah.
And we've done this for years now, and it works extremely well. And yeah, we've been told, we provide better support than most of the products that we're actually selling.
Yeah. I mean, we're one of the few people out there that we will actually use sales reps to pitch affiliate products to people, and we give our sales reps commissions of our commission. So, if we could automate more of that, oh man, just so many ideas spinning.
Yeah.
So again, the company is directly, it was kind of funny. We did this test, and we were actually at a partner meeting planning. We got the results. We're like, we got to just do a Facebook Live right now to our group and let them know about it.
Yeah.
So we did that, and it literally blew up their servers. They contacted saying, hey, we're getting this attack. They're all coming through you guys. What's going on?
Like, no, not an attack.
So we said, no, we have a very, very strong culture. And we basically told them about it. They're like, oh my gosh, because they'd set a limit of, they could only take in like 150 in an hour or something like that. And they got over 500 or some crazy thing. Like, what's going on? So directly is the company. They're great to work with.
Cool. Yeah, we'll look into them. Appreciate that, because any way we can leverage, the better. Well, I think we can wrap it up then. We always love to ask, what's a great book? And you don't have to mention Russell's. They've been mentioned many, many, many times.
Well, I'll mention Russell's. .com Secrets and Expert Secrets are both great books. They're both on the bookshelf somewhere.
They're a must-have for sure for everyone listening. But you have some good books over there.
Well, from copy standpoint, I love great leads. This has been a great one. Michael Masterson, John Ford. And then as far as building a company, this is a book I've been studying quite a bit just recently. It's called High Growth Handbook.
Okay.
It's by Elad Gil. It's basically scaling startups from 10 to 10,000 people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's all about scaling a company. So that's kind of been my Bible recently. The other one, I don't know if I got...
This is awesome. We're actually watching him pull books off his shelf. Folks not seeing this.
Gosh, there was one it's at the house. Anyways, it's one of the things we were studying last year was Salesforce's Beyond the Cloud. It's a great strategy. They literally go play by play this, and it's a great, when you're looking as far as building a business. And I think that's one of the main things I get so passionate about. People, you start off with a product, and then once you've got your product and you're making money on a product, it's like, okay, how do I make a business out of this? Yes. And that's really what my whole focus is these days, is how do you take a business and scale a business to 10,000, 20,000, whatever it might be. And so for me, it's just all about scaling. And that's so most of the books I'm reading right now are how do you scale a business?
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's essentially where we're at in our business too. It's been so wrapped up this 2018, and it's just been amazing. Yes.
Scaling working through that book right now.
Scaling up and Get a Grip. Yep. Are two amazing books for doing that as well.
Awesome books.
Yeah.
Love them.
Awesome, man. Well, where do you want folks to go check out more of what you do and ClickFunnels, all that?
They can always go to clickfunnels.com. You can always hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. Dave Woodward there, either one.
And then Funnel Hacker Radio, is it just funnelhackerradio.com?
Funnel Hacker Radio, yeah. Check out Funnel Hacker Radio, the podcast.
Very cool.
Yeah, and we'll link our episode on there. We were there a month or two ago, and it was a good time. You have a lot of cool guests on there. Yeah, so thank you, Dave.
Awesome.
This has been fun, man.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. Loved it. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one. All right. Thank you. And I hope you just enjoyed this episode you just listened to. Now, right now, before we sign off, I have a few things I would love for you to do. So the very first thing is to go find our guest on Facebook and tell them that you loved their episode with us. That's going to help them just feel good about themselves, but also it's going to spread the word a little bit more for us. So go find them on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook, and go say that you love their episode and maybe one cool thing that you learned there. The second thing is to go to iTunes and subscribe to our podcast. Just look up Hustle and Flowchart and hit the subscribe button. And the very last thing, the third thing, is to leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this podcast and help us spread the word more. That's how more people are going to get this awesome knowledge, this cool podcast training, and a whole bunch of other cool free training that we give out at evergreenprofits.com. So that's about it. Go find them on Facebook, go subscribe on iTunes, and leave us a review. You would be amazing if you did that, but you're always amazing. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next episode.